Hello guys, just wanted to go over my weekly outlook and how it panned out. So I'm not going to be afraid to sit here and say that I was right on my outlook, but however I did say what was the final defense for longs. So what I was looking at was half of this order block to hold, and it didn't. And I said if we go down the daily chart, if you look back in my last video, I said this is the last line of defense. And on Wednesday we closed below it, so that automatically tells me that we're going to go start to seek sell side, which we had there. And I also wanted to go over how I'm going to kind of give you a snippet of what my model is and how you could participate. So this week we had, what day did we have news? We had news on Monday. So I traded the silver bullet with the 2022 model. So what I'm looking for in this window of time on the M15 or the M5 is a market structure shift with a fair value gap. But before I get into the entry time frame, I want to show you what we were looking at on our bias for Monday the 15th. So we have 10 o'clock open since we start trading at 10. Here's our nearest sell side, here's our nearest buy side liquidity. So then we drop down to 1 hour. This is Monday. We find midnight. So before our window starts, I'm looking at, okay, what is the 8 and the 9 o'clock candle trading into? I see this sweep there with this small 1 hour BISI in the discount of the range. So now I'm going down to my 15-minute. It's still that 1 hour BISI. This is the buy side on the 4 hour. And what's above this buy side over here that's not efficient, this 15-minute SIBI here, which is in premium of the range. This is the range right here, because this took sell side and buy side over here. So this is our range, our higher time frame range. So that's why I'm looking at this SIBI. Now I'm asking myself, do I have an entry on the M15 10 to 11, 2022 model market structure shift with a fair value gap? And as you can see, we do not. So now I'm going down to my second entry time frame, the M5. So I like to show up at 9:30, but I can't press a button until 10 o'clock. So at 9:30, I let all this play out. You can see the manipulation. We take sell side into this H1 BISI, and now I'm looking for a market structure shift and a fair value gap bullish towards my higher time frame draws on liquidity I showed you earlier. And right here we have the market structure shift and the fair value gap with the 1050 macro right here. And you could have entered here, stopped below the second candle, and target quick scalp to that M15 SIBI. So that's a sneak peek of the model. I'm going to show you one more day that you could have traded this week, which was, let's go over Tuesday. So here's weekly open. I'll just draw that out real quick. Right here we had SMT with ES. I'll show you ES on the 4 hour so you can see. SMT here. Show you NQ one more time. The SMT. So now on Tuesday at 10 o'clock I see this sell side here. Or no, this sell side down here. I'll drop down the 1 hour. I see this sell side. Drop down to 15. Okay, so on the M15 I see my 2022 model. We had the market structure shift here with a fair value gap at 10 and 11, and I can lower this new sell side down here. So you could either enter in the M15 here, but if you look at my post, I went down to the 5, and it just makes it look more fancy than it really is, and you can reduce your risk. It was this fair value gap here. In between this window, 10 and 11. Stop and go here. You can target this liquidity down here. And I'll show you one more day. I do Wednesday. Might just show you the whole week. Fuck it. Alright. Wednesday. Oh yeah, Wednesday was strange because we had a large move overnight. You'll see this in a second. Midnight on Wednesday was right here. And we didn't even, we didn't make any Judas above midnight to go lower. So what stands out to me, let's go back up to the 4 hour. So I trade the 10 o'clock candle, right? So what is this 10 hour candle before it opens? What is it likely to draw to? Here's the 10 o'clock open. Well, you could say we could draw back into this. So that's a potential draw on liquidity on the 4 hour for this next 10 o'clock candle. But we are already closer to this sell side. So delete that. Now I drop down to the 1 hour. And within this range that we kind of gave ourselves, I see this 1 hour BISI that stands out to me. Go to the 15. So this is a fair value gap in between 10 and 11. You could take it, but my model requires a market structure shift. So in here, this is bearish order flow. You can see that here we have this fair value gap, and right here we had this order block. And that's ahead of 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So now I'm dropping down to my 5. And what do we have here? We have the market structure shift right here with the 950 macro. This fair value gap in discount. See, it's in discount. Premium, because you're shorting. And then this is that 1 hour fair value gap I showed you with the 4 hour buy side below that. So you can put your stop here, target that 1 hour buy side I showed you on Wednesday. So now, same process, 4 hour, go to the next day, 10 o'clock, we're opening. Well, what do you notice before 10 o'clock opens? Pretend you don't see this candle. I see this fair value gap that we could trade into. But look how 2 o'clock closes, look how 6 o'clock closes. We're in this fair value gap with this confluence here. Bodies are respecting the midpoint, which is a weak signature. But I'm going to go up to the daily chart. So on Thursday, I was anticipating that we'd draw into this sell side right here. Then longer term, this weekly sell side, which you can see play out on Friday. So daily sell side right here, weekly sell side right here. And we're in this internal. Whenever we're in internal and we want to go lower, we look for our model 10 to 11, M15, M5 short. So let's see if we have that on M15. And what do you know? We sweep buy side. Here's midnight. Market structure shift. The fair value gap. Can short here. Stop above that. Target that. Little 3R. I actually took this entry and then in here I got another pyramid in the M5. Let me delete that 4 hour. So this is the M15. I entered at 10 o'clock. And what is this? Market structure shift. The fair value gap in my window of time. And you can target that daily sell side. Maybe leave a runner for that weekly sell side. But that leads me into today. We generated this liquidity above weekly sell side for Friday. So same thing as Thursday. We have this weekly drawn liquidity, these equal lows. If I go to the weekly chart, it's not showing up. But that's that weekly sell side. We should drop down to the 4 hour again. So same concept. We have this fair value gap, internal, external, same, wait no, that's the same one. This one right here. Bodies are respecting the lower end, which is very weak. So now I'm dropping down. 10 o'clock opens here. Are we more likely to go back up here, or seek weekly sell side? Weekly sell side is a stronger draw. So go to the 1 hour. Where's midnight? Midnight. So we sweeped buy side at London session, the 1 hour. And we have this fair value gap, or New York OTE on the 1 hour. But I like to frame my trade off a H4 or H1 POI, so you could either use this H1 to frame the M5 or M15 model, or just keep this H4 POI. So now I'm going to my entries. So I show up at 9:30. I can't press a button until 10 o'clock. But what do you notice what's going on at 9:30? We sweep buy side above midnight. And then we have a change in the state of delivery here. So I'm waiting for a M15 or M5 fair value gap. So let me drop. There technically is a model here, but there was one under this before this happened. So literally at the 950 macro, we have this buy side ran 2022 model, the market structure shift, and a fair value gap. Now some of you, which I was definitely guilty of, is if we close above this fair value gap, I'd close early. But that's, you need to trust your analysis and your stop loss placement. So stop loss goes there. And the reason why it can close above is because many times this is the order block and this will be your optimal trade entry. 2022 model is just a amplification of the OTE. So here's your first entry. This fair value gap will stop above that and your window. Now here's the M15 fair value gap, but refined to the M5. We had this in this window, and you would target this weekly sell side. Here's your market structure shift for both of them. So theoretical entry here, possible pyramid here, and my mistake was trailing my stop too tight here. Your stop needs to go on the candle that creates the fair value gap. So here's the first candle, the second candle which displaces the third candle. It creates the fair value gap swing. Your stop needs to go here. Mine was right here. And this was possibly another optimal trade entry from this high to low. And you can see that here. High, low. Retraced 0.62, and then we sell off into the weekly sell side. So weeks like this, when you have a weekly drawn liquidity, all you have to do is look for a M15 or M5 2022 model, which is a liquidity raid in a POI H4 H1 with a market structure shift and a fair value gap. What I like to do is I look at the M5 first to get my ideal entry, and then if the M15 forms, I'll gladly take that. But most of my, I'll say 90% of my entries on the M5. So let me see if I can do that. But days or weeks where the weekly drawn liquidity is clear, all you're doing is looking for a pattern short, vice versa for longs. And I'm not gonna sit here and say my weekly outlook was right, but I did give you guys a point of interest where my analysis would be wrong, and that's what trading is. You have to flow like water, what the market is showing you at this present moment. So that's what we got here, close below my invalidation, and then we seek sell side. I will make another weekly outlook for the upcoming week. But let me know if you have any questions on Twitter on how you can use this model.